Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Once again, you're welcome here on the Evade the Consciences platform. In international news, widespread panic is gripping Ukraine. General panic because Russia is about to take back Ukraine's second largest city, that is, after the capital, the biggest city, Kyansk. The Russian forces are just a few kilometers away. Yes, and it's not just the fact that Kyansk is the second largest city, but also the strategic importance of Kyansk, which is one of the key cities for Ukraine's defense. That is, when you are told what the strategic importance of Kyansk is, you will understand that the Ukrainians have every reason to be in a state of total and widespread panic. At a time when the outlook is bleak, nothing is clear. Nothing is clear for Ukraine. Yes, the halt of weapons deliveries by America. Germany, to whom they have asked for weapons, remains silent for now. Nothing is going well. Russia is advancing on the ground. If they get their hands on Kupiansk, then no, that's something else entirely. So ladies and gentlemen, in this video conference, this is the current event we are going to discuss. But before we continue, I ask you to share this video conference as much as possible. Give it lots of likes. And above all, don't forget to leave a comment. If you don't have a specific opinion, just leave a comment saying, "Hello, Samouraï." Let's dive deeper. So, according to statements from Vitaly Ganchev, who is the head of the Russian administration in the Kharkov region, Russian forces are moving significantly closer to Kupiansk. The liberation of the locality of Solovka is presented as a key step in this advance, since in the last 48 hours, the Russians have retaken this territory. When the Russians retake Ukrainian territories, they say, "We have liberated the territory," as if they were liberating people from sin. They say that they have liberated it. So the capture of this territory is an important step in the direction that the Russian forces have set for themselves toward Kupiansk. Now, they are just a few kilometers from Kupiansk. The problem is there is no defensive line. The defensive line is extremely weak. No ammunition, no men. Yes, we will come back to this in a previous video conference. The issue of the lack of men on the ground. Yes, there was an admission that was made. We will come back to that. So, according to Vitaly Ganchev, the head of the Russian administration in the Kharkiv region, the stated goal of the Russian forces would be to cut off the Ukrainian logistical routes and thus encircle the enemy group present in Kupiansk. They want to encircle Kupiansk. There are Ukrainian soldiers there, but they want to cut off their supply lines. So, they are in the process of circling around Kupiansk. Cutting off, because it's a strategic route for supplying the military, the soldiers at the front, and so on. It's a major route. We will talk about Kupiansk in a moment. Whether it's the railway or anything else, Kupiansk is very important for Ukraine. So, it's a maneuver. If they succeed in this maneuver to cut off and encircle enemy groups by severing the logistical routes, if they succeed, it could seriously compromise the Ukrainian defense, both in this area and elsewhere. It will seriously compromise things. So the situation is very critical for the Ukrainians, very critical. According to this man, Vitaly Ganchev, he believes that Ukrainian forces are in a critical situation on this section of the front. They are in a critical situation. The potential loss of Kupiansk would represent a major strategic setback for Ukraine, because Kupiansk is indeed considered a key city for Ukrainian defense in the region, especially due to its logistical importance and its role as a railway hub. Kupiansk is the railway hub of Ukraine, at least in this area. If they manage to encircle it, if the Russians take Kupiansk, then Ukraine will lose a significant part of its territory. Yes, So a significant Russian advance in this sector could change everything. And so when we talk about Kupiansk, Kupiansk is a vital logistical hub for Ukraine. Kupiansk has strategic importance, and its strategic importance is crucial, mainly because of its role as a railway hub, as we mentioned earlier, and as a major logistics center. The city is a crossroads. Kupiansk is a crossroads for several railway lines. That's why it's called the railway hub. Kupiansk is a crossroads for several railway lines and key roadways, such as the MO3 highway. So these are also routes, whether railway lines or roadways, that are vital for transporting troops in all directions. It is the second largest city in Ukraine. So transportation of troops, transport of equipment, and resupply in the region. Controlling it will secure critical supply routes. If Russia manages to seize it, Russia will control critical supply routes, making it an indispensable logistical base for any military operation in northeastern Ukraine. That means if they get hold of Kupiansk, the entire northeastern region of Ukraine will easily fall under Russian control. Yes. So while people are talking here and there, Russia is making progress. If we're not careful, one morning we'll wake up and find out that all of Ukraine now belongs to Russia. And then people will start talking about negotiations. Negotiations. That's it. Negotiate about what? At a time when Ukraine will have already lost all its territories. So, beyond its logistical role, the position of Kupiansk makes it a top geographical and tactical objective because Kupiansk is close to Kharkiv, the second largest city in Ukraine. Let me clarify. Okay. The second largest city in Ukraine is Kharkiv, not Kupiansk. That's it. So, if they get their hands on Kupiansk, Kharkiv is already within their reach. And so it's over. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's what needs to be said about this news. In any case, things are very tense. We'll come back to this later with more updates. This was the voice of your one and only Samurai.